Chapter 2861. Netherworld Fire Phoenix. Young Master Chu looked at Leng Rushuang in front of him. There was a burning desire in his heart, but on the surface, he was trying his best to maintain the appearance of an elegant young master. Leng Rushuang glanced at young Master Chu and nodded slightly. Young Master Chu was immediately overjoyed and said, "This time, I heard that Miss Leng is going to be listed on the Dragon Phoenix list. I specially prepared a generous gift for you. I hope Miss Leng won't mind." After saying that, young Master Chu waved his hand. In an instant, a silver-white stream of light streaked across the sky. The stream of light dissipated and a silver-white robe with a round collar that was clearly exquisitely carved appeared in front of the many experts. At a glance, this robe was incomparably luxurious, dignified, and grand. On the surface of the robe, there were two phoenixes embedded. These two phoenixes were lifelike and intertwined together as if they were competing for beauty. It was beautiful, so beautiful that it made people intoxicated. Most of the experts present could not help but exclaim in admiration the moment they saw the clothes. Young Master Chu smiled and said, "The name of this clothes is Heavenly Phoenix Silver Snow Garment. It is also a top-tier heavenly treasure with extremely great power. Moreover, these clothes can be said to be the most beautiful ones I have ever seen. As soon as I saw it, I immediately paid a great price to buy it. This time, I specially sent it over. Because in my opinion, in the entire Golden Crow 9 realms, no one other than Miss Leng has the qualifications to own such a beautiful dress." Young Master Chu's words were very pleasant to hear, and the surrounding people couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. The gift young Master Chu had prepared was indeed very special and unique. This Heavenly Phoenix Silver Snow dress was indeed very beautiful. As the saying goes, good wine goes with beauty. Beautiful clothes could only be worn by real beauty. No matter how talented Leng Rushuang was, she was still a woman. Moreover, she had only cultivated for a short period of time and did not have much experience. It was possible for her to be moved by some beautiful things. But at this moment, young Master Chu is really tactful. A voice that clearly carried a hint of hostility sounded. Everyone immediately looked towards the source of the voice and saw a handsome young man slowly walking forward. Seeing this person, many people present revealed playful smiles. This young man was the young master of the Star Point Pavilion, Kai Ming. Kai Ming and young Master Chu were both pursuers of the young phoenix of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Moreover, they were the two most fanatical people. This matter had long been known by everyone. Now that young Master Chu had brought out the gift that he had meticulously prepared in front of everyone, Kai Ming naturally could not fall behind. "Kai Ming, what do you mean by me being tactful?" Young Master Chu looked at Kai Ming with a slightly cold gaze. "Isn't it? As far as I know, this Heavenly Phoenix Silver Snow Garment was clearly refined by young Master Chu after you spent 10 years and hired more than 10 refiners. I even heard that young Master Chu even went to the Fire Cloud Castle to ask Lord Mo to personally take care of it. Unfortunately, Lord Mo rejected it. But even so, this garment still cost you a lot of energy and price. Yet, you are telling Miss Leng that you just happened to come across this dress and bought it. Isn't this a euphemism?" Kai Ming sneered. "Humph, so what if it's like this? I just don't want Miss Leng to have too many worries." Young Master Chu snorted coldly. Immediately after, he shouted in a low voice, "Kai Ming, don't say such sarcastic words. I know that you must have prepared a gift. Take it out for everyone to see, Today is a great day for Miss Leng to enter the Dragon Phoenix list. Naturally, I have prepared a gift as well. Miss Leng, please take a look." Kai Ming directly pointed to the empty space beside him. Everyone immediately looked in the direction Kai Ming pointed to and immediately saw a red that appeared at the end of that direction. That red dot was still continuously magnifying. When it really appeared on this training ground, it had already turned into a huge object. It was a phoenix that was completely bathed in black flames. Fire phoenix? Black flames? Could it be one of the top-tier beast bloodlines, the immortal phoenix? No, that's not right. This fire phoenix's black flames aren't very pure. It's not an immortal phoenix, but the Netherworld Fire Phoenix. Right, it's the Netherworld Fire Phoenix, and its strength has already reached the level of a high-level Great Divine Master. The martial arts practice field was already in an uproar. Countless experts were discussing animatedly. These experts were all extremely knowledgeable and had already recognized this fire phoenix. They were all extremely shocked in their hearts. The Netherworld Fire Phoenix was a branch of the Immortal Phoenix. Although it did not belong to the top-tier mutant beast bloodline, it was still considered extremely outstanding among the mutant beasts. At least in the entire Golden Crow 9 realms, it was absolutely not easy to find a mutant beast bloodline of the Netherworld Fire Phoenix's level. And now, this Kai Ming had actually brought a high-level Great Divine Master level Netherworld Fire Phoenix to the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Moreover, looking at the Netherworld Fire Phoenix's appearance, it was obvious that it had already been tamed and had become incomparably docile. Heavenly Phoenix Silver Snow Dress, no matter what, it is only a piece of clothing. How can it compare to a real phoenix? The corners of Kai Ming's mouth carried a trace of a sneer. However, his gaze turned towards Leng Rushuang. Miss Leng is a young phoenix of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, a phoenix among men, and this Netherworld Fire Phoenix can be your mount. Hearing Kai Ming's words, many experts on the martial arts practice field secretly exclaimed, "Big spending, really big spending. A Netherworld Fire Phoenix at the Senior Great Divine Master level. I wonder how the Star Pavilion obtained it and tamed it. This Scarlet Nether is really willing to spend a lot of money to win the smile of a beauty." Whether in terms of value or rarity, the Netherworld Fire Phoenix mount of a high-level Great Divine Master was naturally far from what Heavenly Phoenix Silver Snow Garment could compare to. After all, in the entire Golden Crow 9 realms, other than this Netherworld Fire Phoenix, it was likely that there would not be a second exotic beast that possessed the bloodline of the Immortal Phoenix. Bastard, that damned Kai Ming. Young Master Chu's expression had already become incomparably gloomy. It was very obvious that he was once again inferior to Kai Ming. Miss Leng, this Netherworld Fire Phoenix has already been completely tamed. You just need to make it acknowledge its master, Kai Ming said with a smile. However, Leng Rushuang's expression had always been cold. She glanced at the Netherworld Fire Phoenix and shook her head slightly. A phoenix is the empress of all beasts. It should be high and mighty, comparable to a true dragon. However, this phoenix has completely lost its dignity and pride. Such a phoenix can no longer be called a phoenix. Calling it an ordinary bird is more like it. I appreciate young Master Kai Ming and young Master Chu's good intentions. However, you should bring the Heavenly Phoenix, Yin Shueshong, and the Netherworld Fire Phoenix back yourself. After saying that, Leng Rushuang directly flew to the side of the void. Chapter 2862. Who are you, Miss Lang? Kai Ming and young Master Chu's expressions changed. The two of them did not expect that the treasure they had carefully prepared would not catch the phoenix's attention. Surrounded by many female disciples, Leng Rushuang flew to the side. However, after just 2 steps, another figure appeared in front of her. He wore a golden robe and stood there quietly with a long sword on his back. His body was slightly trembling, and there was a gentle smile on his extremely cold and young face. His gaze was extremely gentle and filled with endless love as he looked at Leng Rushuang. Unlike the gentleness that young Master Chu and Kai Ming deliberately showed, the gentleness and love of this golden-robed young man were not the slightest bit fake. He looked at Leng Rushuang as if he was looking at the person he loved the most. And this person was Jian Wushuang. In the martial arts practice field, many experts looked at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. Who is this person? Is he also a pursuer of young phoenix? Not only is young phoenix's talent unparalleled, but her beauty is also shocking. It's normal for her to have a few pursuers. However, young phoenix has very high standards. She doesn't even care about young Master Kai Ming and young Master Chu. She doesn't even care about the gifts they prepared. It's not easy to impress her. Just wait and see. This guy is probably asking for trouble. Everyone was discussing. Kai Ming and Master Chu's faces also darkened. Where did he come from? Kai Ming's eyes were cold. As for Master Chu, he had already recognized Jian Wushuang. It's him. Master Chu's eyes narrowed. Previously in Fire Cloud Castle, he had set his eyes on Jian Wushuang. He had also carefully investigated Jian Wushuang's information. Of course, He had also obtained some of Jian Wushuang's battle scenes. Those who remembered Jian Wushuang's appearance could now recognize him. Why is Sword One here? And his gaze. This kid is also interested in young Phoenix? Young Master Chu was secretly surprised. Jian Wushuang's gaze was too eye-catching. There was no hiding the tenderness and love in his gaze. Almost everyone present could see it. Naturally, they immediately thought that Jian Wushuang was also pursuing Leng Rushuang. But they did not know that Jian Wushuang was completely different from those so-called suitors. In the void, Jian Wushuang was still gazing at Leng Rushuang from a certain distance. Finally, after a long time, he opened his mouth slightly. Shuang. The two words, which were soft and gentle, also sounded on the martial arts practice field, but everyone present was stunned. Shuang. Was this how the golden-robed young man addressed the young phoenix of Dragon Phoenix Pavilion? Was the young phoenix not called Leng? Shuang. Leng Rushuang's face, which had always been as cold as ice, slightly changed. This name is very familiar. Who are you? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Who are you? Leng Rushuang was asking him who he was. How could it be? How could it be? Shuang, how can you not recognize me? Jian Wushuang's heart was roaring crazily, and his body was also trembling crazily. Countless thoughts had already formed in his mind. He and Leng Rushuang were both sent into the reincarnation passage by his master Xianxia. Under normal circumstances, keeping one's soul in the reincarnation passage was equivalent to reincarnation. Although everything had started over again, it still retained the memories of his previous life, so Leng Rushuang must have remembered him. But now, who are you? These three simple words made Jian Wushuang's mood fall to the bottom. Don't you recognize me? Jian Wushuang asked. Your appearance gives me a sense of DJVU. I also feel very familiar with the name Shuang, but I really don't know who you are. Leng Rushuang shook her head slightly and paused, then she asked again, can you tell me your name? My name? Jian Wushuang felt bitter in his heart. Obviously, Leng Rushuang did not remember him. She did not even know his name. She just felt that he was somewhat familiar. Did something happen when I entered the reincarnation passage, or did Shuang's soul sleep all the time in my previous life, causing her memory to become blurry? Jian Wushuang pondered. In the outside world, the experts on the martial arts practice field all had strange expressions. As a matter of fact, the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young phoenix expression had never changed since she appeared on the martial arts practice field. She had always been as cold as ice. Even though young Master Chu and Kai Ming had offered generous gifts to her, her expression did not change at all. But now, the sudden appearance of the golden-robed man and the way he addressed Shuang caused the expression of the young phoenix to change. What's more, young Phoenix had taken the initiative to ask for his name. I spent more than 10 years preparing the Heavenly Phoenix silver snowgown just to make her smile, but she didn't even bother to look at me. But now, she has taken the initiative to ask for Sword One's name? After that, young Master Chu's long and narrow eyes became unusually cold and stern. Kai Ming, who was beside him, also had an extremely ugly expression. In the void, Jian Wushuang's heart was struggling. He really wanted to rush forward and hold Leng Rushuang in his arms, but he was afraid of scaring her. Moreover, the situation in front of him did not seem to be the same as what he was doing. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang raised his head again, but he had already made a decision in his heart. Without any warning, Jian Wushuang's figure directly floated toward Leng Rushuang's position. Kai Ming and young Master Chu were both shocked by this scene. How dare you? Kai Ming shouted angrily, and his body instantly rushed forward. Damn it! He got there first. Young Master Chu also rushed forward, but he was obviously behind Kai Ming. After all, his strength was far inferior to Kai Ming's. Jian Wushuang approached Leng Rushuang, but Kai Ming had already blocked him before he could reach her. Where did this idiot come from? Miss Leng is also someone like you who can get close to her. Give me. Kai Ming was about to say the word get lost when Jian Wushuang looked at him directly. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. Suddenly, a terrifying sword essence rushed toward Kai Ming. Kai Ming's last word was stuck in his throat, but he could not utter it again. He was still standing in front of Jian Wushuang, but his eyes were wide open. He stared at Jian Wushuang, and his body was trembling. In a split second, the moment Jian Wushuang's sword essence burst out, a thought appeared in Kai Ming's heart. If he dared to utter the last word, his throat would be cut by his opponent in the next moment. There was no room for struggle. Although it was just an illusion, Kai Ming was still terrified by it. Chapter 2863, Past Life and Present Life in the Void. Kai Ming had completely stopped. Jian Wushuang floated past him and continued toward Leng Rushuang. Finally, he arrived in front of Leng Rushuang. When he was less than 10 meters away, he finally stopped. Then he slowly reached out and took out a jade slip. He looked at Leng Rushuang with deep affection and threw the jade slip to her. Leng Rushuang hesitated for a moment, then took the jade slip and began to read it with her consciousness. There was only one paragraph in the jade slip. In my previous life, I chased you for 100,000 years. My heart was broken, and I missed you. I entered the reincarnation with you in this life. I promise you 100 million years, and we will be together until death. When we meet today, you will be my companion. Jian Wushuang. Leng Rushuang moved for a moment and then looked up at Jian Wushuang. But she found that Jian Wushuang had already turned around and left. Leng Rushuang could only look at Jian Wushuang's back and mutter to herself. Jian Wushuang, is this his name? Why does this name feel so familiar to me? In my previous life, in this life, who is he? Leng Rushuang was also puzzled. She shook her head after a long while. Let's go, Leng Rushuang said. Then she returned to her residence with many female disciples. Until Leng Rushuang completely disappeared from everyone's sight, the people on the martial arts practice field were in an uproar. In the center of the training grounds, the few undying saints had been quietly watching this scene. They did not express any opinions, but now they were all laughing and chatting. Ha ha, as expected of the young phoenix of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. There really are quite a few suitors. Yeah. The young master of the Heavenly Melody Realm Lord and the young pavilion master of the Star Pavilion aren't ordinary people. There's also that little fellow who appeared at the end. He seems to be quite extraordinary as well. He is indeed extraordinary. Everyone should have noticed that in that instant, right? The several immortal saints exchanged glances and nodded. Sword intent. An extremely sharp sword intent that contains boundless killing intent. This sword intent isn't too strong. Logically speaking, Kai Ming should be the young pavilion master of the Star Pavilion, and his strength should be infinitely close to that of an invincible divine master. This sword intent shouldn't be able to do anything to him. But in the end, he was so frightened by that sword intent that he couldn't even speak. Ha ha, the sword essence is only secondary. The key is the overwhelming killing intent contained in the sword essence. If I didn't guess, the little guy should be a real killing god. Although he looks young, he has killed many cultivators in his life. Only the terrifying killing intent condensed under the overwhelming killing and the sword essence released at the same time can shock Kai Ming. This little guy is not simple. The immortal saints were all talking about Jian Wushuang. By the way, do you know that little guy? Long Xianxia, the pavilion master of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, asked with a smiled no. There are many experts in the 9 realms of the Golden Crow, but not many can have such powerful sword essence and killing intent like this little guy. He's only a peak divine master. I've thought about it, but he's not one of them. It seems that he is a reclusive expert or someone who has just risen. We haven't heard of him yet. None of the immortal saints present recognized Jian Wushuang. On the martial arts practice field, a few people recognized Jian Wushuang, but they did not hear about it. Since you don't know him, then forget it. Long Xianxia waved his hand. Thank you all for gracing us with your presence today, but the viewing ceremony has already ended. If you have nothing else to do, you can drink a few times more in my Dragon Phoenix Pavilion before leaving. If you have something to do, you can leave first. As Leng Rushuang left, the viewing ceremony had already ended. Many experts in the martial arts practice field also began to leave. In a corner of the martial arts practice field, Senior Brother Chu Shi, that sword one seems to have left. Should we immediately chase after him? Demonis Gu asked. There's no need. Chu shook his head. Junior sister Gu, your strength is still too weak. Perhaps you still don't understand, but I saw it very clearly. Although Sword One didn't make a move in that instant, he was at an absolute advantage in the confrontation with Kai Ming. Kai Ming was even completely intimidated by him. Kai Ming is the young master of the Star Point Pavilion. Even he is no match for Sword One, so I'm no match for him. It seems that I was a bit rash to challenge him. Sword One is so powerful? Demonist Gu was rather surprised but more shocked. The last time they met, Jian Wushuang's cultivation was only at the peak Earth Divine Master level, and his battle strength was only at the Divine Master level. However, it had only been a short while, and Jian Wushuang's strength was already so strong that he could not even deal with Chu Shi, who was at the peak of the Great Divine Master level. In another corner, Chu Hong, are you disappointed that Miss Leng did not take your Phoenix Silver Snow Garment? Kai Ming appeared in front of young Master Chu and mocked. Humph, didn't Miss Leng also not take your Netherworld Fire Phoenix? What are you so proud of? Young Master Chu said coldly, that's right. Miss Leng didn't accept the gifts that the two of us had meticulously prepared. She didn't even take a look at them. On the contrary, that person who appeared out of nowhere actually caused Miss Leng's expression to change. Miss Leng even took the initiative to ask for the other party's name. Young Master Chu, it seems that both of us have no hope. Kai Ming said self-mockingly. There's no hope? Young Master Chu's expression changed. Forget it. Let's not talk about it. Kai Ming waved his hand and left. Young Master Chu still stood there, but his expression had already become extremely gloomy. Black Blood Emperor, I told you to keep an eye on Sword One. How is it now? Young Master Chu asked. Young Master, I've already sent someone to follow. Black Blood Emperor said. That's good. Young Master Chu's gaze was extremely cold. Sword One, previously in Fire Cloud Castle, after me, only Sword One came to pay a visit to Lord Mo. The Sword Dao treasure that Lord Mo used the Holy Heavenly Furnace to refine is very likely to have been refined for Sword One. And now, Sword One has actually come to Dragon Phoenix Pavilion to compete with me for the fledgling Phoenix. Humph, he's just a peak Divine Master. How dare he try to get his hands on a young Phoenix? If I don't remove all his claws, I won't be called Master Chu. Black Blood Emperor, let's go and find Sword One. Master Chu shouted. Yes. Black Blood Emperor nodded. Immediately, Master Chu led his invincible Divine Master, Black Blood Emperor, and several peak Divine Masters to chase after Jian Wushuang. Chapter 2864. Arrived after leaving the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, Jian Wushuang flew in the void alone. Shuang'er actually lost her memory, but she still feels familiar with me. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. He came to the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion purely to join in the fun. But, on the other hand, he was also a little curious about the favored son of heaven, Xiao Feng. However, he did not expect that the young phoenix would be his wife, Leng Rushuang. The moment he saw Leng Rushuang, he was ecstatic. However, Leng Rushuang lost her memory and could not recognize him. It was like giving him a bucket of cold water, which made Jian Wushuang pleasantly surprised. In any case, I have seen Shuang'er again. As for her memory, as long as she is familiar with me, it should not be difficult for her to recover it, Jian Wushuang thought. At this moment, Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. He had already reached some movement in the void behind him. Jian Wushuang remained calm and continued to move forward. He did not stop until he was a certain distance away from the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion and reached a desolate and vast plain. Then, he turned around. Don't hide anymore. Come out. Jian Wushuang's bright voice spread. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, several figures rushed over from the distant sky and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang instantly. 6 people came, and the leader was young Master Chu. Jian Wushuang also recognized the cold middle-aged man standing next to young Master Chu. He was the Black Blood Emperor. In addition to the 2 of them, there were 4 other people. Their auras were also very impressive. They were all peak Great Divine Masters. An invincible Divine Master, 4 peak stage Great Divine Masters, and Master Chu himself was also an advanced Great Divine Master. Such a lineup was indeed not weak. So it's you, Master Chu. I wonder why you have followed me all the way here. Jian Wushuang's expression was calm. He did not change because of the powerful lineup of Master Chu and the others. Sword 1. Master Chu stared at Jian Wushuang. You know me, Master Chu? Jian Wushuang was surprised. I know you. When you visited Lord Mo, I happened to be in Fire Cloud Castle and heard about your visit. At that time, I heard that you were only an advanced Great Divine Master. But now, in less than 10 years, you have already reached the peak Great Divine Master. Your breakthrough speed is quite fast, isn't it? Master Chu said. I was just lucky, Jian Wushuang said casually. Well, cut the crap. I came to you today for 2 things. The first thing is to hand over the sword principal treasure that Lord Mo refined for you. Young Master Chu shouted. The sword principal treasure that Lord Mo refined? Jian Wushuang looked puzzled. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know? In that case, I don't have to say the second thing. I'll kill you, and then I'll go to your interspatial ring to find it. Kill him. Young Master Chu shouted in a low voice. The Black Blood Emperor did not move, but the 4 peak Great Divine Masters behind him immediately moved. Boom. 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 4 powerful auras burst out in an instant. Peak Great Divine Masters was definitely the top expert in the sacred world. In the Pil Sun sacred world, there were only a few peak Great Divine Masters, and each of them could be considered the strongest battle strength. But now, the 4 peak Great Divine Masters attacked simultaneously. The 4 peak Great Divine Masters were mighty. Because they sensed that Jian Wushuang's aura was also at the level of a peak Great Divine Master, they did not underestimate Jian Wushuang. Instead, they attacked with all their strength. One of the 4 peak Great Divine Masters suddenly grew to 30 meters, like a mountain. Behind him, a huge phantom of a strange beast appeared. His aura was monstrous, and his feet stepped on the void as he crazily charged toward Jian Wushuang. The second person was a green-clothed woman. She held a dark green whip in her hand, and with a fierce swing of the whip, Jian Wushuang could vaguely hear the sound of flowing water. Large waves spread wildly toward him. The third person was a short, thin man. Although he was short, his violent aura was the strongest among the 4 people present. He held a golden-red sledgehammer, shining with golden light. He looked like a god who had descended from heaven. He swung the sledgehammer and smashed it into the void. Immediately, large waves spread out in the space. The last person was an older man with messy hair. The older man stood where he was and did not rush out. However, there was a layer of yin flame in his eyes. A strange power silently attacked Jian Wushuang. This power was a soul attack. The 4 Great Divine Masters attacked with all their strength, vowing to kill Jian Wushuang on the spot. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang just smiled faintly, and then he flew out. He did not use any secret skills. He did not use 7-star secret skill, Penal Law Divine Realm, or 9 Luminary Star Armor. He just relied on his current divine power and the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. Boom! A powerful soul attack came at him at once. However, after passing through his body's defense and hitting the exquisite pagoda, it only shook the pagoda slightly and easily blocked it. Then, the towering mountain formed by the 30-foot-tall burly man came straight at him. Jian Wushuang casually struck out with his sword. That's right. He struck with the body of the sword, not with the blade. Although it was just a casual strike, with Jian Wushuang's own strength and the power of the Blood Mountain sword, the strike's power was still at the peak of the Great Divine Master level. Bang! The towering mountain that came crashing toward him was instantly sent flying. Then, Jian Wushuang gently slashed with his long sword. It was as casual as before, but it blocked the long whip of the cyan-robed woman and the giant hammer of the skinny man. Jian Wushuang easily neutralized the 4 peak Divine Master's full-strength attacks. This kid seems to be quite strong. Be careful, the elder who used soul attacks said. The other 3 looked very serious. Then the 4 attacked Jian Wushuang again. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry. Since the Blood Mountain sword had been infused with his blood essence, its power had soared. He had not used the Blood Mountain sword to fight with anyone since then. Now was a rare opportunity, so he was not in a hurry to finish off his opponent. He still wanted to get used to the power of the lower Blood Mountain sword. Chapter 2865 had underestimated him. Bang! 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 The four Peak Divine Masters attacked Jian Wushuang with all their strength. However, Jian Wushuang only casually attacked the four Peak Divine Masters. Although he looked calm, he was able to withstand their attacks. My divine power has increased dramatically since I became an initial Great Divine Master. The power of the Blood Mountain sword is dozens of times stronger than before. Now, my divine power is at least 100 times stronger than when I fought Marquis of 3 Yin. Even though I haven't used any secret skills, the power of my divine power and the Blood Mountain sword is still much stronger than that of a peak Great Divine Master. Even if I don't use any sword skills, I can still fight against the four Great Divine Masters with my brute strength. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. He could fight with the four Peak Divine Masters with just a casual move of his sword. If he used his sword skills seriously. I've already felt the power of Blood Mountain sword. There's no need to waste time with them. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes and moved forward like a ghost. He appeared in front of the burly man who was as tall as a mountain. The burly man looked extremely sturdy, as if he was covered by a layer of rock. He immediately rushed toward Jian Wushuang when he saw him. However, this time, Jian Wushuang did not use his sword. Instead, he swung his sword. Whoosh! A beautiful sword light swept out. The sword light was so beautiful that it was intoxicating. This sword was the 7th move of the space-time swordsmanship created by Jian Wushuang, the intoxicated one. The sword light flashed out, but it contained an extremely terrifying strangling power. This strangling power was formed by the hundreds of space-time blades that Jian Wushuang had comprehended the space-time rules. Of course, the most important thing was that it was the Blood Mountain sword that performed this move. The sword light collided with the burly man's mountain-like body without any hindrance. The burly man thought that his secret skill was strong enough to fight against Jian Wushuang's sword light. However, when the two collided, the burly man's hair stood on end. The towering mountain formed by the burly man was cut in half by the beautiful sword light. The sword light passed through the center of the mountain and cut it in half. Naturally, it divided the burly man's divine body in half. Even so, the beautiful sword light did not disappear. Instead, it rushed out at an amazing speed and swept toward the messy-haired old man who had been attacking Jian Wushuang with soul attacks. What? The messy-haired old man was shocked. He did not expect the sword light to continue slashing at him. The distance was too close, and the speed of the sword light was so fast that the messy-haired elder did not have time to block it. He could not even put up some defense on his body. He could only watch as the sword light struck his divine body. It passed through his divine body. Kai! Kai! The beautiful sword light finally disappeared completely. However, 2 of the 4 Peak Divine Masters who had surrounded Jian Wushuang were killed in an instant. How is this possible? The remaining 2 people, the green-clothed woman wielding the dark green whip, and the short and thin man wielding the sledgehammer, were all shocked. They were both Peak Divine Masters, but Jian Wushuang had killed 2 of them with 1 strike. Did this mean that they could not withstand 1 strike? Run! Without hesitation, they turned around and tried to run away. Jian Wushuang glanced at them and slowly raised his palm. Buzz! A tremendous force of space-time rules swept away in an instant. The heaven-designated skill, with Jian Wushuang's great improvement in the space-time rule and the power of his divine power, he could use this skill again. Even an invincible divine master could not be underestimated. He had almost no ability to resist. Without any warning, the void where the cyan-robed woman and the short and skinny man were standing completely froze. The cyan-robed woman and the short and skinny man were also completely frozen, not moving at all. Jian Wushuang's figure flashed and appeared beside the 2 of them. Then he casually waved his Blood Mountain sword and 2 heads were immediately thrown away. In the blink of an eye, all the Supreme Divine Masters who had surrounded Jian Wushuang were dead. Too fast, too fast. The 4 Supreme Divine Masters had been able to fight Jian Wushuang with equal strength, but in the blink of an eye, they were killed by Jian Wushuang in less than half a breath. In the void beside the battlefield, young Master Chu stood side by side with the Black Blood Emperor. When the Black Blood Emperor saw Jian Wushuang kill the two peak Great Divine Masters with his sword, he realized that something was wrong and wanted to help. However, he was too slow. He had just moved when the four peak Great Divine Masters were all dead. Damn it! The Black Blood Emperor's expression changed. How could it be? Young Master Chu was stunned. They had long noticed that the divine power emitted by Jian Wushuang was only at the level of a peak Great Divine Master. Logically speaking, Jian Wushuang would have been completely defeated in a 4-on-1 fight. Therefore, he did not pay much attention to it at the beginning and only let the four peak Great Divine Masters fight while the Black Blood Emperor watched from the side. However, because of this slight underestimation, he lost four peak Great Divine Masters for nothing. This was a peak Great Divine Master. Even though the Heaven Curve world was larger than the Pill Sun Sacred World, it did not have many peak Great Divine Masters. It was a great loss to lose four at once. I underestimated him. Master Chu stared at Jian Wushuang with a cold face. He's only a peak Divine Master, but his battle strength is almost comparable to an ordinary invincible Divine Master. No wonder Kai Ming couldn't stop him in the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. He seemed to be intimidated. I thought he used some special method, but now it seems that his strength is indeed above Kai Ming's. Kai Ming must have realized this and chose to retreat. The Black Blood Emperor's voice was cold. In the void ahead, Jian Wushuang, who had easily killed the four Great Divine Masters, looked at young Master Chu and young Master Chu with his cold eyes. Young Master Chu, didn't you want to kill me? It seems that these four people are not enough. Chapter 2866. Black Blood Emperor Master Chu, didn't you want to kill me? It seems that these four people are not enough. Jian Wushuang's voice slowly echoed between heaven and earth. Hearing it, Master Chu's face immediately turned cold. Boy, don't be too proud. It's just killing four Great Divine Masters at the peak. So what's the big deal? Master Chu's voice was shallow, but he looked at the Black Blood Emperor. I'll leave it to you. With your strength, it shouldn't be a problem to take him down, right? Yes. The Black Blood Emperor nodded slightly, but his eyes gradually turned cold. Black Blood Emperor? Jian Wushuang also glanced at the Black Blood Emperor. When he left the Pill Sun Sacred World, he also got some special information from Xianxia. Among them was the Black Blood Emperor. The Black Blood Emperor had been an invincible Divine Master for a long time. There were different levels of invincible Divine Masters, and the Black Blood Emperor was one of the most powerful among them. Marquis of Three Yin, who had fought with Jian Wushuang, was also an invincible Divine Master, but he was not as famous or powerful as the Black Blood Emperor. It was said that the Black Blood Emperor's comprehension of the rules. In fact, he was even comparable to an ordinary immortal saint. Under normal circumstances, as long as one had accumulated divine power to the limit of a Divine Master and knew some secret skills to increase the power of his power, in addition to his comprehension of the rules and Tao, he would be an invincible Divine Master. To be able to create an ultimate skill, one could be considered an invincible Divine Master. When one's comprehension of the rules exceeded that of a Divine Master and reached the level of an immortal saint, one could be considered an invincible Divine Master in the second stage. The Black Blood Emperor was an invincible Divine Master who had entered the second stage. Therefore, Jian Wushuang did not underestimate the Black Blood Emperor. After my realm broke through and my strength soared, I was worried that I would not have a suitable opponent to fight with. However, although the Black Blood Emperor is not a true immortal saint, he is not weak either. So it's a good test of my current strength. Jian Wushuang smiled. Come on, let me see what level you can force me to. Jian Wushuang was full of expectation. The Black Blood Emperor's face was cold, and his eyes were icy. He stared at Jian Wushuang, but there was already vast darkness spreading out from his body. This darkness was boundless and covered the vast world. An extremely oppressive aura instantly swept out, suffocating people. The Black Blood Emperor slowly raised his right hand and pointed in the direction of Jian Wushuang. Go! He spat out a word. The boundless darkness directly covered Jian Wushuang. The boundless dark airflow surged wildly in the void and condensed into a huge dark vortex instantly. The dark vortex was at least 300 meters wide. As soon as it appeared, it began to spin crazily. As it spun, a world-shaking devouring power suddenly erupted. Heaven devouring earth. The huge dark vortex mercilessly devoured everything in the void. The dark vortex continued to expand and slowly approached Jian Wushuang. As expected. Looking at the huge dark vortex in front of him, Jian Wushuang was secretly surprised. To be able to form such a huge dark vortex with just a raise of his hand, his comprehension of the dark rules must have reached an incredible level. At the very least, it's not something that a divine master can achieve. Jian Wushuang was secretly surprised. However, he was not afraid at all. When the huge dark vortex engulfed him, a shocking sword essence rose from Jian Wushuang's body. This sword essence wanted to tear the world apart, but a thick divine power slowly surged out of Jian Wushuang's divine body. Then, Jian Wushuang struck out. He just struck out casually, looking like an ordinary person wielding a wooden sword. However, when he swung his long sword, a sword light immediately lit up. This sword light was feeble, dim, and incomplete. It was a broken light, a remnant light. However, when this remnant light appeared, at least 100,000 of remnant lights were everywhere in the blink of an eye. Even Jian Wushuang's body turned into hundreds and thousands of people at this moment. Thousand-sided remnant light. The ultimate skill created by Jian Wushuang was also his most powerful sword move. Buzz. The seemingly dim remnant light actually contained a terrifying power. The remnant light charged into the majestic dark vortex as if the dark vortex had mercilessly devoured it. However, in just a moment, the dazzling light in the majestic dark vortex became brighter and brighter. Finally, the endless sword light completely exploded, along with hundreds of space-time blades hidden under the sword light. These sword lights and space-time blades frantically swept out in all directions. The vast and majestic dark vortex was torn into pieces by these sword lights and space-time blades. The entire dark vortex completely collapsed, and the dark airflow that filled the sky also scattered wildly in all directions. However, the dark vortex had just been defeated. Whoosh! A figure silently appeared beside Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's pupils suddenly constricted, and he had already sensed the figure's arrival from the corner of his eye. Whoosh! The dark saber light did not stir up any momentum at all. Instead, it also silently slashed toward Jian Wushuang. Although the saber light did not carry much power, Jian Wushuang had already sensed the terrifying power contained in the dark saber light the moment it was swung. Jian Wushuang immediately raised his hand and waved his sword to block it. Clang! A low collision sound was heard. Jian Wushuang's body slightly sank. Before he could fight back, the owner of the dark saber light, the Black Blood Emperor, once again released his saber. This saber move was completely different from the first one. This saber move brought about the entire world and the endless darkness in the surroundings. The power it carried was shocking, and the saber light was extremely domineering. Rumble! The saber light descended. Jian Wushuang could even sense that the surrounding void was trembling crazily as if it could not withstand the power of the saber light. Jian Wushuang's expression changed slightly. Then, under the surge of divine power, he swung the Blood Mountain sword directly. Clang! The two collided, and the power completely exploded. However, it was obvious that Jian Wushuang was at an absolute disadvantage. What a strong power! Jian Wushuang's eyes focused. He had already felt a strong power coming from the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. His body slightly trembled, and he could not help but retreat. But at this time, the Black Blood Emperor raised his hand and swung it down. In a flash, the third slash came. And the power of the third slash was obviously more powerful and terrifying than the previous two. Chapter 2867. Fierce Battle. This saber light. Jian Wushuang looked at the dark saber light that was slashing toward him in surprise. It was the same dark saber light, but this saber light was several times stronger than the first and second saber light. The ultimate skill, and it's a terrifying ultimate skill. In terms of power, it's much stronger than the ultimate skill, Blood Coagulation Claw, created by my 1,000 square-shaped light and the Marquis of 3 Yin, Jian Wushuang praised. He immediately placed the Blood Mountain sword in front of his chest. Bang! The terrifying power completely exploded from the saber light. The boundless dark air current crazily surged toward Jian Wushuang, drowning him in the blink of an eye. Is he dead? Standing in the void not far away, young Master Chu revealed a cold smile when he saw this scene. Black Blood Emperor's expression was also extremely cold. Nevertheless, he had absolute confidence in his own strength, especially his saber skills. Each of the 3 saber strikes was an ultimate skill, especially the third one. When the power of the third saber strike was strong enough to withstand the previous 2 saber strikes, he believed that even if Jian Wushuang was an invincible divine master, even if he did not die, he would at least be severely injured. Hum 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 hum, the terrifying saber light and the darkness in the sky finally disappeared, and the void where Jian Wushuang finally appeared in front of Black Blood Emperor. However, looking at the scene in front of him, Black Blood Emperor immediately frowned. In the void not far away, young Master Chu's expression changed. He didn't die. What is he doing? Jian Wushuang was still standing in the void. There was a layer of purple barrier on his body, which was naturally formed by the purple Emperor Bell. Jian Wushuang was covered by the purple Emperor Bell. There was no injury on his body, nor was he in a sorry state. Even his aura was at its peak. It was obvious that Jian Wushuang was not injured at all. Black Blood Emperor, I've long heard that you're very strong. You're already at the 2nd stage among the invincible divine masters. Now it seems that it's true. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. He had already recognized Black Blood Emperor's strength, and it was indeed, as the rumors said, it was even slightly stronger than the rumors said. It's true that you're strong, but it's a pity that the person you're meeting today is me. Jian Wushuang laughed strangely. At the same time, his aura soared at an astonishing speed. He was originally at the level of a junior great divine master. Under the cover of the black stone, he emitted the divine power aura of a peak great divine master. But now, as he used the 7-star secret skill, his realm instantly rose from a junior great divine master to a senior great divine master. His divine power aura also soared, and he had also reached the invincible divine master level. He was even stronger than Black Blood Emperor. With the help of the 7-star secret skill, my divine power has increased by several times. And then, Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. He suddenly rushed forward and appeared in front of Black Blood Emperor in the blink of an eye. He waved the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. He swung the sword in an overbearing manner. It seemed that he was going to use his power to suppress his opponent. Black Blood Emperor was not afraid at all. He stepped forward, condensed his endless saber essence, and slashed out. In an instant, the sword shadow and the saber light collided head-on, and the power of the 2 completely exploded. What? Black Blood Emperor's face suddenly changed. How can it be? The power of Sword 1 has become stronger, and so much stronger. Black Blood Emperor was shocked. When he fought with Jian Wushuang just now, Jian Wushuang's strength and power were on par with his. But now, when they fought again, he felt the power from Jian Wushuang's sword. It was much stronger than his. It was at least several times stronger. Ha ha, Black Blood Emperor, let's compete in strength. Jian Wushuang laughed. He did not care about fighting skills anymore. He just swung his Blood Mountain sword. He swung his sword at the Black Blood Emperor again multiple times, each of which contained a power that shocked even an invincible divine master like Black Blood Emperor. Damn it, how could he be so strong? Black Blood Emperor's expression changed drastically. His comprehension of the rules was much stronger than Jian Wushuang's, and the ultimate skill he created was obviously stronger. Even so, under Jian Wushuang's overwhelming strength, he could barely hold his own against Jian Wushuang. However, at this moment, Jian Wushuang waved his left hand. Swish, 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 swish. Streams of black light shot out like black lightning. These black streams of light were extremely fast and powerful. In an instant, they appeared in front of Black Blood Emperor. Black Blood Emperor was shocked. Immediately, a majestic black airflow burst out from his body and turned into saber shadows. They collided with the black streams of light and sent them flying. After the black streamers were sent flying, they soon floated in the void in front of Jian Wushuang. It was then that they could clearly see that the black streamers were black magic swords emitting a powerful aura and the power of reincarnation. The black magic swords were arranged in a row and floated in the air. There were a total of 18 of them. The 18 underworld blood magic swords, which had reached the level of a superior divine treasure, floated in the air. With a thought from Jian Wushuang, the 18 black magic swords condensed together at an amazing speed. Buzz, a faint hum, like the sound of a sword, slowly sounded in the world. A brand new, 5-meter-long black divine sword with a very thin body suddenly appeared in the world. The 18 black divine swords condensed into one. Black Blood Emperor, try the power of my sword formation. Jian Wushuang smiled and pointed in the direction of the Black Blood Emperor. Go! In an instant, the 5-meter-long black divine sword, which was emitting a shocking power, pierced through the void and shot out. The black divine sword left a perfect arc in the void, giving people the feeling that it was a beautiful black sword light. The sword light was absolutely beautiful and intoxicating. It was the 3rd level of the Samsara sword formation, Samsara intoxication. When Jian Wushuang was only at the peak divine master level in the Pil Sun sacred world, he had relied on the 3rd level of the sword formation to fight against the Marquis of 3 Yin. Now that he had broken through from the peak divine master level to the initial great divine master level, the power of the sword formation had been greatly enhanced. Chapter 2868, Killing on the Spot. The moment the 3rd reincarnation sword formation was completely formed, the Black Blood Emperor had already sensed the terrifying power contained within the sword formation. When the sword formation truly attacked, the Black Blood Emperor's expression had already become extremely grave. His body was suffused with a large number of black air currents, and boundless darkness once again swept out. Amidst the darkness that filled the sky, a dark giant that was 1,000 feet tall appeared out of thin air. This dark giant's aura was majestic. He held a black battle saber tightly in his hand. As the battle saber in the hands of the Black Blood Emperor waved, the dark giant raised the battle saber in his hand at the same time and suddenly slashed out. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The dark giant was shaken by the terrifying power of the sword formation and staggered back a few steps. However, the reincarnation sword formation only lasted for a moment before the 5-meter-long black divine sword once again shot out explosively. Bang! 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 The dark giant tried his best to resist the onslaught again. However, after only 5 onslaughts, the dark giant could not withstand the powerful impact and directly collapsed. The 5-meter-long black divine sword continued to charge toward the Black Blood Emperor with shocking power. This sword formation is so powerful. Although the Black Blood Emperor was shocked, he did not panic. He quickly retreated and slashed out with his saber, repelling the sword formation again. However, at this moment, Jian Wushuang, who had been controlling the reincarnation sword formation in the void in front of him, also moved. He appeared in front of the Black Blood Emperor and unleashed his space-time swordsmanship. He fully displayed his swordsmanship while the reincarnation sword formation charged at the Black Blood Emperor again and again. The perfect combination of the two, the Black Blood Emperor instantly felt the pressure multiply. I'm in big trouble. This kid's strength is extremely powerful and his swordsmanship is extremely high. He won't be at a disadvantage when fighting me in close combat. His sword formation is also extremely powerful. When the two combine, I'm no match for him. The Black Blood Emperor's expression had become quite unsightly. If Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship could be separated from the reincarnation sword formation, he would not be afraid of either. But now, with the perfect combination of the two, he could withstand Jian Wushuang's close-range swordsmanship, but it was difficult for him to defend against the attack of the Samsara sword formation. The Black Blood Emperor was completely suppressed by Jian Wushuang. He had tried his best to exert his strength to the maximum, but he was still suppressed by Jian Wushuang. Moreover, Jian Wushuang's advantage was still expanding under this suppression. Oh no, I can't hold on any longer. The Black Blood Emperor's face changed drastically. He could barely withstand the impact of the reincarnation sword formation, but at this time, Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword came straight at him, but he did not have time to swing his saber to block it. He had no choice but to rely on his powerful body protection to find a way to take this sword head-on. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from his body. The black robe on the Black Blood Emperor's body instantly turned into black armor. The black armor covered the Black Blood Emperor's entire body. There were even some black halos around his body. The aura of a top-tier heavenly treasure was emitted from the armor. The Black Blood Emperor relaxed slightly when he saw the powerful power of the black armor. He had obtained the black armor by chance. Although it was only at the superior divine treasure level, it was definitely the best of the best among the superior divine treasures. Its value was almost comparable to a special treasure at the superior divine treasure level. The black armor was his most powerful protective means, and he was quite confident in its protective ability. He believed that no matter how powerful Jian Wushuang's next attack was, after being weakened by the black armor, it would at most be able to injure him, but not seriously. As for killing him, it was impossible. But soon, his expression completely froze. As soon as the blade of Jian Wushuang's scarlet longsword touched the protective armor on his body, his extremely confident protective armor was immediately torn apart like a piece of paper. The protective armor was torn apart, so it did not pose much of an obstacle to the scarlet longsword. The scarlet longsword mercilessly cut through the divine body of the Black Blood Emperor and flew out from the other end. In an instant, the divine body of the Black Blood Emperor was cut into 2 pieces. His vitality had begun to dissipate. This. The Black Blood Emperor's eyes were still wide open, but his face was filled with horror and disbelief. Yes, it was unbelievable. He could not imagine that Jian Wushuang's sword could kill him directly. He also did not expect that his protective armor, which was considered the best among the top-tier heavenly treasures, would be so vulnerable to Jian Wushuang's sword light. It's a sword. It's his sword. Before he died, the Black Blood Emperor looked at the scarlet longsword in Jian Wushuang's hand. The scarlet longsword looked ordinary, but it did not emit much aura or power. Even during the battle, the Black Blood Emperor could feel that the scarlet longsword's power was extraordinary, but he did not think too much about it. But now, before he died, the Black Blood Emperor understood. Holy treasure. This sword is a holy treasure, and it's extremely sharp and extremely powerful. The Black Blood Emperor growled in his heart, but his eyes dimmed completely. Jian Wushuang stood in the void and looked down at the Black Blood Emperor's corpse, which had been broken into 2 pieces. His face was extremely cold. Marquis of 3 Yin, who fought with me in the Pil Sun Sacred World, was not weak in the first stage of the Invincible Divine Master, but I could still fight with him. Now that I've broken through to the level of an elementary Great Divine Master, the Blood Mountain Sword has undergone a transformation. Its power has increased tenfold, and its overall combat strength is dozens of times stronger than before. Especially the Blood Mountain Sword, it has more than the power of a holy treasure. The most important thing is that its blade is too sharp. A protective armor at the level of a superior divine treasure is like a piece of paper in front of my Blood Mountain Sword. There's no way to defend against it. After killing the Black Blood Emperor, Jian Wushuang was not too excited. After all, he knew that his current combat strength had long surpassed that of an ordinary Invincible Divine Master. Even if the Black Blood Emperor had reached the 2nd stage among Invincible Divine Masters, he was still no match for Jian Wushuang. Moreover, he had not used his full strength just now. He had not used many of his trump cards. He had only relied on his swordsmanship and the reincarnation sword formation to kill the Black Blood Emperor. His real combat strength could be even stronger. Chapter 2869. Young Master Chu's trump card. The Black Blood Emperor is dead. Next, it's him. Jian Wushuang looked at young Master Chu coldly. He knew very well that the 4 Divine Masters and Black Blood Emperor were just following orders. Young Master Chu was the one who wanted to kill him. Jian Wushuang had thought that young Master Chu would be terrified after seeing him kill the Black Blood Emperor. However, what surprised him was the look on his face. He was indeed very surprised that Jian Wushuang could kill the Black Blood Emperor. However, he was not too frightened. What kind of trump card does young Master Chu have? Jian Wushuang could not help thinking. At this moment, young Master Chu's eyes were fixed on the Blood Mountain Sword in Jian Wushuang's hand. It's this sword. It's so sharp and terrifying. I know how strong the Black Blood Emperor's body protection is. The body protection armor on his body is an absolute top-grade heavenly treasure, but in front of this sword, it was torn apart like a piece of paper. This sword. Young Master Chu's eyes lit up. He had already thought of a possibility. It seems that the sword principal weapon you asked Lord Mo to refine should be this sword in your hand. Young Master Chu said excitedly. Master Chu, I'm very curious. What else can you rely on to face me so calmly without running away? Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? Jian Wushuang also looked at Master Chu. Kill me? Do you dare? Master Chu smiled coldly. Jian Yi, don't forget that my father is World Lord Qian Chu. He's an extremely powerful immortal saint and his methods are very good. Although he'll be furious that you killed the Black Blood Emperor, he might not kill you personally. But if he dares to attack me again, I dare to say that my father will kill you at all costs. Do you think you can escape then? This is what you rely on. Do you want to use your father to intimidate me? Jian Wushuang's face was very cold. Of course not. Young Master Chu shook his head slightly and then took out a token. The token looked ordinary, and when it appeared in young Master Chu's hand, Jian Wushuang immediately sensed an extremely terrifying aura from it. This aura made his heart palpitate. There was no doubt that this aura came from the immortal saint. Jian Yi, you should be able to see what this token is. Young Master Chu smiled. That's right. This token is a life-saving token that my father personally refined for me. During this period, it contains the power of one blow from my father. It's enough to kill any divine master, including the invincible divine master. If you have the guts, you can give it a try. Jian Wushuang's pupils constricted. He finally understood why young Master Chu was so confident. It turned out that he had such a trump card. The token that contained the power of one strike from Realm Lord Qian Chu was the power of one strike from the immortal saint. Realm Lord Qian Chu was well known in the 9 realms of the Golden Crow and was an extremely powerful immortal saint. His power was below that of the immortal saint. Not many people could survive. After all, the gap between the immortal saint and the divine master was too big. Jian Wushuang had already possessed the combat strength of an invincible divine master when he was in the Pill Sun's sacred world. Now that his realm had broken through and his Blood Mountain sword had undergone a transformation, his overall strength had increased by nearly 100 times, but even so, he did not think that he was qualified to fight with an immortal saint. However, that did not mean that Jian Wushuang was afraid of Realm Master Qian Chu. Master Chu, it seems that Realm Master Qian Chu really dotes on you. He just came to Dragon Phoenix Pavilion to attend the ceremony. Not only did he arrange for you to be protected by an invincible divine master and 4 peak divine masters, but he also refined a life-saving talisman for you. However, you are destined to be disappointed. Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. A majestic killing intent slowly rose from his body. Sensing this majestic killing intent, young Master Chu's expression could not help but change. Jian Yi, do you really want to die? Although young Master Chu had absolute confidence in his life-saving command talisman, to be exact, he had absolute confidence in his father. However, even with his father's ability, it was not easy for him to personally refine such a life-saving command talisman. Therefore, he hoped that Jian Wushuang would give up so that he could not use this trump card. But now, courting death? Haha, young Master Chu, you think too highly of yourself. Jian Wushuang sneered. The majestic killing intent had completely covered young Master Chu. At the same time, a large amount of golden divine power surged out from the surface of Jian Wushuang's body. In an instant, it formed a huge golden emperor phantom behind Jian Wushuang, which was at least 30,000 feet tall. Jian Wushuang finally used his secret skill, Divine Punishment. As soon as Divine Punishment was used, Jian Wushuang's strength soared again, but his body had already rushed out. Seeing this, young Master Chu finally did not hesitate anymore. Go to hell! With a powerful shout, young Master Chu directly crushed the life-saving token in his hand. In an instant, a world-shaking and terrifying power suddenly erupted. This power was much more powerful than the full power of an ordinary divine master or even an invincible divine master. He was definitely at the level of an immortal saint, and among them, it was definitely not weak. Rumble! The sky and earth changed color, and the entire void was shaking crazily. Under the guidance of young Master Chu, this sudden burst of terrifying power suddenly turned into a towering hand. The towering hand opened its fingers and directly grabbed at Jian Wushuang. Wherever it passed, a crisp explosion sounded in the void. Jian Wushuang, who was moving, felt that a terrifying power had completely covered and sealed him, making him lose any chance to escape. The towering hand finally covered Jian Wushuang and suddenly clenched. An explosive power was activated, as if it could crush an entire world. Jian Wushuang was completely submerged by the overwhelming, terrifying power. In the void next to him, Master Chu stood there and looked at the giant hand in front of him, which was destroying everything. A cold smile appeared on his face. Father, this is Father's strength. Jian Yi really deserves to die. He thought that he was amazing enough to kill the Black Blood Emperor, but he didn't know that he was no different from an ant in front of Father. If Father wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as squashing an ant. Chapter 2870. Killing young Master Chu. Looking at the earth-shattering power in front of him, young Master Chu's eyes were filled with extreme fanaticism. This fanaticism was his admiration for his father. The undying sage, the true overlord of the 9 realms of the Golden Crow, was much stronger than the reverent god. All below the sage were ants. This sentence was definitely not casually said. Wung, the power that filled the sky finally dissipated completely. That piece of void slowly revealed its original appearance. Is he dead? Young Master Chu stood on the spot, staring at the void in front of him. But at this moment, a powerful sword intent swept out mercilessly, annihilating the many powers in the surroundings. Following that, a human figure slowly stepped out and appeared in front of the young Master Chu once again. The power of the immortal saint's strike is indeed impressive. Jian Wushuang praised, but there was a faint smile on his face and a mocking look on his face. Young Master Chu, who had been confident and had absolute confidence in the life-saving command talisman refined by his father, suddenly turned pale. How is this possible? Young Master Chu stared at Jian Wushuang with wide eyes, as if he could not believe what was happening. He also could not believe that his father had made this life-saving command talisman himself. Moreover, his father had told him not to use the life-saving command talisman unless it was a life-or-death situation. Once he used the power of the command talisman, no one below the immortal saint could survive, even the invincible divine masters could not survive. He believed his father's words. But now, Jian Yi had survived the power of the command token. Not only did he survive, but he also looked like he did not have any wounds. Yes, he was not injured at all, and his aura had been magnificent. Obviously, Jian Wushuang did not suffer from the power of the command token. This made Master Chu feel incredulous. However, no matter how shocked he was, the truth had already happened. He had used his last trump card, the life-saving token, but Jian Wushuang did not die. So what happened next? Master Chu, it seems that you will die in the end, Jian Wushuang said with a cold smile. No. Master Chu immediately became terrified, and his eyes were full of fear. Jian Yi, my father is World Lord Qian Chu, and he has always doted on me. If you dare to kill me, my father will never let you go. You have just said that. Jian Wushuang sneered. He did not want to pay any attention to him at all, and his body had already floated forward. Jian Yi, please, let me go. Whatever conditions you have, just say it. No matter what conditions you have, I will agree to them. Even if I can't do it, I will ask my father to do it himself, as long as you are willing to let me go. Master Chu's face was crazy, and he kept crying and shouting. He no longer looked like the elegant young master he used to be. His heart was trembling. Seeing this, the mockery in Jian Wushuang's eyes became even stronger. I'm not interested in your conditions. Just die. Jian Wushuang had already appeared in front of Master Chu, and the Blood Mountain sword in his hand had already been brandished. No. Jian Yi, my father will avenge me. He will. Young Master Chu's roar was hysterical. As soon as his voice fell, his head was thrown away. Looking at young Master Chu's body, Jian Wushuang smiled. He is about to die, but he still used World Master Qian Chu to suppress me. He thinks I don't dare to kill him. What a joke. Jian Wushuang admitted that World Master Qian Chu was indeed very strong. This could be seen from the power of the life-saving command talisman just now. The huge hand just now had indeed completely crushed Jian Wushuang, and Jian Wushuang had no room to fight back. He knew that he could not face World Master Qian Chu directly, but so what? He could not face him head-on, but World Master Qian Chu did not have the ability to kill him. So what did he have to worry about? The young master of World Master Qian Chu has such a big background, so he must have a lot of treasures. Black Blood Emperor, who was just killed by me, and the 4 great divine masters must be very rich. I'll look for them carefully later. I'd better leave now. Jian Wushuang put away the interspatial rings of young Master Chu and the others. Then he flew into the void and soon disappeared. Not long after Jian Wushuang left, 2 figures suddenly appeared in the void. One was old, and the other was young. They were Kai Ming, the young master of the Point Star Pavilion, and the immortal saint who was following him. They looked around the void. The bodies of young Master Chu and the others had been destroyed by Jian Wushuang, but Kai Ming and the immortal saint still looked very strange. When I met Jian Yi in the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, I sensed that he was very strong and could even kill me easily. That's why I stopped fighting with him. Now it seems that I was right. Kai Ming took a deep breath. He sighed quietly. He killed 4 divine masters at the peak of the divine realm and Black Blood Emperor by himself. This young man is indeed very strong. The black-robed elder nodded slightly. After leaving the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, young Master Chu immediately brought people to chase after Jian Wushuang. In fact, Kai Ming and the black-robed elder followed him, but they did not show up. However, they saw everything that had just happened, including Jian Wushuang killing the 4 peak divine masters, killing Black Blood Emperor, surviving young Master Chu's strongest trump card, and finally killing young Master Chu. They saw everything clearly. First of all, Jian Wushuang killing the 4 peak divine masters did not surprise them. After all, an ordinary invincible divine master could easily kill a peak divine master, which meant that Jian Wushuang had the combat strength of an invincible divine master. However, it was surprising that Jian Wushuang had killed the Black Blood Emperor. It was rare to see an invincible divine master in the 9 realms of the Golden Crow. Every single one of them was very strong and had many skills. Under normal circumstances, unless the immortal saint personally killed them, it would be too difficult to kill an invincible divine master. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to kill an invincible divine master in a one-on-one situation. As for the Black Blood Emperor, he was not weak among invincible divine masters and had already entered the 2nd stage. His comprehension of the rules had reached the level of the immortal saint, so it was naturally more difficult to kill him. However, he was easily killed by Jian Wushuang.